The son of a former Major League Baseball star was found dead with his 8-year-old son, the boy's name called Dante, in an apparent murder-suicide just 2 weeks after police had searched the father's house in connection with the 2019 disappearance of the boy's mother. George Scott III, 53 years of age, was found dead shortly after 8 a.m. at his New Bedford, Massachusetts home when police had received a request to do a wellness check. They arrived to the property and found both George Scott III and his 8-year-old son, Dante, their bodies lying dead on the ground. It is believed that the father killed the boy who was living with him before taking his own life. Investigators found several knives at the scene that they took in as evidence. So we're not told how the two died, but I think we can presume that the father stabbed his 8-year-old son, Dante, to death. That's my assumption. And then took his own life with a knife, perhaps. Could be wrong. But we're not told of any guns being recovered. We're just told that the bodies were found lying dead on the ground, I believe, alongside each other, and that several knives were taken from the scene as evidence. George Scott III is the son of the late Boston Red Sox player George Scott, who had a very successful career in the majors, particularly with the Boston Red Sox. George Scott III had also tried to become a professional ball player as well, going through various minor league teams in the 1990s. So seemingly he didn't achieve the success of his father, which I'm going to say is quite normal, but perhaps that somehow plays a factor in this tragedy. Perhaps he felt that he was a failure. Perhaps that was a contributory factor. Who knows? The 8-year-old boy, Dante, is the son of Lisa Hazard, a woman who went missing back in March 2019, at which point George Scott III was considered a person of interest in her disappearance. Just 2 weeks earlier, just 2 weeks prior to the deaths of George Scott III and his and Lisa Hazard's 8-year-old son, Dante, the district attorney's office had executed a search warrant at George Scott III's home in relation to Lisa Hazard's disappearance. So hopefully I've articulated that well, but in essence, Lisa Hazard, the mother of Dante, I presume the girlfriend, if not wife of George Scott III, disappeared in 2019. George Scott III was a suspect, or at least a person of interest, back then in 2019. Seemingly, perhaps some new evidence had come to light, or some new rejuvenation had come to the investigation. The district attorney had a warrant to search George Scott III's premises, his home, and then 2 weeks later, George Scott III takes his own life and that of his son, Dante. What can we read into that? Well, my speculation would be that George Scott III was involved in the disappearance of Lisa Hazard and realized that he may have to face justice. We're told that Lisa Hazard was last seen after leaving her mother's home in Fall River, I guess Massachusetts, on March the 5th, 2019. Family members said that Lisa was in recovery at the time from drug addiction and she had become erratic. So she's believed to, well, she has disappeared. There's no commentary in regards to the discovery of Lisa Hazard's body. With that, we don't know what's happened to her. It could have been that she unlived herself. YouTube doesn't like me using the S word. It could be that she unlived herself and her body has not been recovered, or it could be that she met foul play, and that could have been at the hands of George Scott III. I presume her boyfriend at some point, and as far as we're told, the father of Dante. I've not done a great deal of research in regards to this article. I tend not to do a great deal of research. I tend to just read through one, perhaps two articles. I don't really do deep dives. Perhaps that's something I'll get more involved in, but my general approach is not to do deep dives, to go with the information provided by one article that allows me to cover a number of topics. But perhaps there is a lot more to look into in regards to Lisa Hazard's disappearance. Maybe more information will come to light. Perhaps there's other YouTube videos that do discuss Lisa Hazard's disappearance prior to the deaths of Dante, her 8-year-old son, and her ex-partner. So I'm going to say full condolences to the family and friends, all those that knew and loved Dante, an 8-year-old boy. His mother disappeared in 2019. He's been living with his father, who's believed to be a person of interest in regards to his mother's disappearance. And tragically, Dante's life has been taken away, murdered. We're not told how. It seems that he was perhaps stabbed to death. Again, several knives were removed, taken in as evidence from the crime scene, the family home in Massachusetts. So full condolences to all family and friends of Dante and those of Lisa Hazard as well. We don't know what happened to her. I would imagine that it's fair to assume that she is deceased at this point, disappeared since March 2019. I don't think I have too much more to say in regards to this. It's a tragedy. It's another innocent life taken away. We're not told of a motive, but the only motive that I can think of is perhaps the father, George Scott III, strongly feared that his life and reputation will be thrown into turmoil given the rejuvenation of the investigation of Lisa Hazard's disappearance. Meaning that I'm assuming, I'm guessing, I'm speculating that George Scott III was indeed involved in the disappearance and presumably murder of Lisa Hazard. But that is speculation. That could be wildly wrong. It could be completely different factors at play. It could be that the further investigation of Lisa Hazard has just brought up memories and emotions which have been too much for him. We don't know. So I'm going to wrap things up. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. If you have any thoughts on the case, just drop a note, perhaps you know more information than I've been made aware of from the one article that I've read through. Perhaps you've got your own theory. Feel free to speculate, but I'll wrap things up. Take care.